Hello there, and welcome back to the Schools of Excellence podcast. We are in part 3 of our 5-part series of the new School Playbook, which are the 5 power plays to attract, engage, and retain families. So, last episode was all about speaking their language, and our first power play was all about knowing your families. So, today we're going to be diving into Be Where They Are, which is the power of creating a digital omnipresence so that you can really master the art of being everywhere and dramatically amplify your school's reach and impact. So let's talk a little bit about the illusion of accessibility. So school leaders, right, have relied a lot on traditional methods of being accessible, whether that's an open door policy, regular newsletters, the occasional school events, and many people are constantly looking for, is there another way for me to be accessible? Is there another way for me to be visible? And the reality is that parents engage with information in a very different way. And it's not just about meeting families in the digital spaces so that you can attract the families. You essentially become invisible to a large portion of your community if you're not being where they are when they are families of yours. So, not just in the attraction phase, but also in the engagement and retention. If you're not where they are, then they're going to leave, right? So, how has parent engagement really shifted in the last 5 years? So there's an always on culture. Parents are really expecting instant access to information, almost like 24/7. There's a multi-platform presence, right? Parents in different groups and different avatars favor different digital platforms. So, right, you can't just say, well, we're on the app and that's where we do all the communication. Like I said in the previous episode, great. Then there's an entire parent avatar that's just never going to hear updates from you. Information overload. Schools are competing for attention in an overcrowded digital space, right? There are millions of people online. You're not the only person, right? Mobile first mentality. Most parents access information primarily through their smartphones. So if you are going to create communication, it must be mobile first friendly. If it's like you got to open your computer on your browser, okay, well, then you lost a certain demographic, right? It's not that you lost everyone. It's that there's a certain parent avatar that is going to only access everything from their smartphone. So if the communication that you're giving out is not mobile friendly, you're missing them, right? It's not working. Personalized experiences. Parents expect communication tailored to their specific needs and interests. Just like I shared with you in the previous episode, right? Parents want it to be specific for them and they want experiences. I had a conversation with an owner of a couple of locations. And the last conversation that I had with her was just about 3 years ago. She came to our Summit of Excellence here in Florida. And I basically, like, she's kind of been in my orbit. She follows the podcast. I've connected with her a few times, but I haven't had like a sit down conversation with her since she was at the event. And when I got on the phone to connect with her, I said, what brought you to come connect with me again? And she's like, well, really, I still think about the Summit of Excellence from 3 years ago. And she's like, I tell a lot of my friends about it, but the thing that I tell everyone about is the food experience that you had at the retreat, just the level of delicacy, the way it was set up, the way it was beautified, just the whole experience. I can't forget it. And I was laughing to myself a little bit because it's been 3 years, right? And she still remembers the experience of the food and how it was set up and how we designed this unique experience. And anyone who's listening, who's been to our events, can attest to how much effort and attention to detail we put into our in-person events and our live event experiences. And the thing is that it has an impact. And parents will talk about experiences that you create inside of your center. And I talk about this when I speak about training the troops, of like training your staff of how to be part of parent retention. When a parent has a positive interaction with your school, they will tell an average of 9 other people about that positive interaction. And we'll dive into that when I talk about the episode on Train the Troops. But this is what I mean by personalized experiences. And so these changes means that the old way of being accessible and present are just not sufficient. Being where your parents are not just about having a website and a Facebook page, it's about creating a comprehensive digital ecosystem that meets parents at every touch point in their journey. So from when they become a prospect to a lead, to a tour, to convert, to a family, to engage them, to retain them all the way through the life cycle of the parent, creating that digital ecosystem is what it means to be where they are, right? So creating increased visibility is not just about being present across multiple platforms. It's about understanding how to reach the parents in your current ecosystem and being visible to them about the types of communication that is important for them to see. The other component is increased engagement. So, if you want parents to engage, are we being where they are in their preferred platforms and communication styles to make it easy for them to engage in the school? Now, you could be like, oh, well, we have these 5 different ways that we engage. Are those the 5 correct ways? You won't know until you do your avatars from the previous episode. Once you have your 3 or 4 avatars, then you're going to have crystal clear clarity from the data that these are the 3 communication methods that your parent avatars need. So you don't need 5, you can drop 2. Now you're saving resources, now you're saving time, now you're saving energy and mental capacity because you only need these 3 to connect to your parent avatars. This is why these exercises, while they take time and energy, are so powerful to really dial in your ecosystem to attract, engage, and retain families, right? You're not just going by, well, this is best practice, or this is what the marketing team told me, and they, are a big marketing agency. I love marketing agencies. We have a marketing agency that works with us. But here's the thing, I never take my pulse off of the messaging of communicating to the market because guess what? She is not in my market. I am. I talk to people all the time. So even if your marketing team works with childcares, it doesn't matter. They don't know your families. They don't see them every single day. They don't talk to them every single day. They don't know little Sarah's Ben. You do. So you need to connect with them and explain to them who your families are, right? Community building. Digital platforms offer opportunities for parents to connect, but you have to understand how you're building that strong sense of community. Because if you're not understanding that, you're missing so many components. So let's talk about, again, a couple of just next action steps. Parent communication apps, right? When you have apps, they're great. And they're fantastic. But the thing that you have to remember is that it is one form of parent communication, meaning some parents want texting or email. So I want you to do a quick audit of like, okay, what are all the different ways we're currently communicating with families? Is it through text, through app, through the website? You might have 7 different channels. Okay. Are all of these necessary? Well, you won't know unless you go into the data and actually look. When we send an email blast out, how many people actually open and click? Like, do we need to continue to send email notification? Or do more families respond when we send the text message? I don't know. Only you will know the data, right? And then one of the things we do inside of our Schools of Excellence program is people go and they get the data from the surveys, from the enrollment forms, from all the things, the templates that we give them. And then we help them decode the data. So they bring the data to us and we're like, okay, here's all the stuff. Let's amalgamate it. Let's make sense of it. Let's decode it. And now go and execute on this plan, right? So another thing to remember is a lot of people jump straight to their website, which is the digital front door. But the thing you have to remember is while your website is your first impression of your center, if you are struggling with enrollment, that is never the first thing to go tackle. I'm going to link here in the show notes the episode on how to increase enrollment. If you need to increase enrollment right away, like if you need to get 10 more kids in the door, do not work on your website. That is literally the least effective tool to get parents in the door within the next 3 weeks. You need to actually run parent circles, actual communication, nose to nose, toes to toes communication and engagement. And I have an entire episode on that. I'll link that here in the show notes. People that have run those power plays have enrolled 12 families within 3 weeks. Multiple schools have done this. Follow the frameworks there. Please, I am begging of you, if you need enrollment today, do not create a website. It is not going to get you kids in 3 weeks. It takes 4 weeks to build a website. And it takes another few weeks to actually get the SEO and all of the engines to start running and all of the plugins and all of the whatever it is at the back end to start functioning. And then you have to start running ads and marketing campaigns to your website. You will not get kids from your website right away. It is a long-term game. It's important. You need a website. But if you are hemorrhaging and you need kids in the next 3 weeks, go do the action steps in that episode and I will link it here. Please do not go build a website. Okay, whatever website you have now is good enough. Go get kids in the door, stop the bleed, and then you can go update your website. Social media, you want to be part of their daily scroll, right? So focus on platforms where your parent avatars actually spend time. So one of the parent avatars, the career focused millennial parent, they spend time on LinkedIn and Twitter. So now you might be hearing this and like, oh my God, does that mean I need to create a Twitter account? No. Do your exercises of who your parent avatars are. And again, if you want support, click the link in the show notes and apply. Happy to have a conversation with you. And once you understand who your parent avatars are, then you can know what platforms you need to go play on. The power of doing this is like beyond, because you stop wasting so many unnecessary resources of time, of money, of people, of energy, trying to go chase after and see what's going to stick. You know what's going to stick because you look at the data. Okay. So the how I want to wrap up here is like, I shared a lot of information with you and it can feel overwhelming in a little bit, but again, take the action steps that I just shared and understand that this is just one part of the power plays, right? There's 5. This is to be where they are. Next week, I'm going to be diving into train the troops, which is all about understanding how to train your staff, from your assistant teachers, to the custodian, to the assistant, to the person who sits at the door, to the admin, to the curriculum coordinator, to the regional manager, to the director, to everyone needs to be trained how to build strong, lasting relationships with your school community. And that is what we are going to be doing next week. All right. Thanks so much for joining me.